it sounds sacrilegious, but I mean, is this group playing better because Christian's not on the field and guys maybe are just stepping up their games, or is this the offense kind of feeling a little bit better about the system and just performing better?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of just another week with the guys together. Not getting a preseason. It's just time on task, and it's just the guys executing and doing their job. I don't think it has anything to do with who's out on the field, who's not. It's just an opportunity to guys executing, doing their job, and just getting the time on task, working with one another.
If I might follow up, with Christian coming back in the near future, have you put on your lab coat to figure out how to integrate him into this group that's playing so well and maybe come up with other fun things for your offense to do when you add him back to the mix?
I haven't thought that far ahead, but I know whenever the time comes, to have one of the best players in football back and playing, that's always a good thing.
Let's go to Miles Simmons and then David Newton.
Hey, Joe. How would you assess the way Teddy Bridgewater has played through the first 4 weeks of the season? And is there anything in particular you'd like to see from him in the next few games?
I think there's always room for improvements. But with, I think Teddy and just the whole offense in general, it's just important when we go into every game, we just understand, what it's going to take to win that football game and how to take control of that football game. And so, week to week, the game plans change, and that's not just talking necessarily about the opposing defense. A lot of it is about us. And, and so just Teddy going out there, and I think he's doing a great job at executing the game plan, putting our players in position to make plays, making plays with his feet. And I think his accuracy and his completion percentage is showing that. So I have full faith in everything that he's doing with the control of the offense.
Hey, Joe, David Newton, good to see you. I want to ask you two questions. The first is, what did you see in Chris Reed when he was going through the quarantine and how he handled that, and what did you see coming out?
Well, you learn. I mean, like it's not an easy thing what he had to go through, but you just know he's a true professional, and he approached it even if he was in quarantine, but he still was mentally staying ready, so that when his time did come, he wasn't behind. And you see on a guy on a football field that's just loving being able to be with the guys and playing football again, and you see his physicality, you see his effort, and I think he's playing great football, and so he's been a great addition, great to have him back on the football field with us. And
my second question is, why have you been able to get so much more out of Robby Anderson than it seemed like they did with the Jets?
I can't comment on what they've been with the Jets. I think Teddy's done a great job of building chemistry with Robby, and Robby's done a great job of getting open and making plays with the ball in his hands. And so you just got to continue to improve on that.
All right, let's go to JB Ricks and then Elena Getzenberg.
Hey, Coach, JB Ricks here from Spectrum News 1. I just had one curious question as far as Christian being out of the lineup. Has that given you any advantages at all when it comes to your play calling or anything specific you want to do with your offense as you go through these games without him?
Christian McCaffrey is one of the best football players in the game. And so, anytime you have him on the football field, it benefits you. I think the guys, we have a don't blink mentality, and our guys have kind of, rose to the occasion. You see how hard Mike and Reggie kind of ran the football and made plays. But I wouldn't say we're at an advantage without having Christian. I think, we just understand who's out there and we find out what they do best. And, we have full confidence in the guys, whoever the 11 that are out there, they're going to go out there and they're going to play their hardest and execute the game plan.
Hey, Joe. I was wondering, we saw Chris Manhertz was out there a lot more last week than he had been in weeks past. Was there kind of a plan to get him just more snaps or out there more? Or is that just something that happened kind of with the flow of the game?
Yeah, I think week to week, it's, I think it all just kind of how the game plan rolls out. It's not this person can't do this person can't do that. I think it's just kind of a flow and, how the personnel usage kind of goes. And I thought Chris Manhertz, while he was out there, I thought he played an excellent game. He played hard, played tough. He opened the holes in the run game, and, we didn't convert it on that 1 3rd down, but him getting us from a 3rd and 19 to a 4th and 2 was, one of the biggest plays in the game.
If I could just ask one follow-up, you had told us you wanted to get Curtis Samuel more involved a couple weeks ago. Is that something you feel like has been accomplished and is going well like you wanted it to?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to come away in every game, and with our offense, I think we're fortunate they have a bunch of guys that can make plays. And it's not one thing that any defense can focus on one specific player, and so we keep you can scheme a play up for a specific person and might not get the look and it goes somewhere else, but the plays that are going to Curtis, he made some incredible plays this past week in the pass game, third down conversions, and then watching him what he's doing in the run game that kind of goes unnoticed. I think he's playing at an extremely high level, and I know he's going to continue to build on that.
Let's go to Joe Person and then Jason Huber.
Joe, kind of following up on that earlier question, and we had Dan Quinn on a conference call today, and he said that you guys are definitely using, in his mind, Robby more on some crossers than he did in New York. What did you see in his game as you evaluated him before free agency that gave you confidence that that he could do that kind of stuff besides going over the top?
Well, when you see a player of Robby's caliber, how fast he is. So that obviously if you just get the ball in his hands, great things happen. But when you watch Robby run routes and you watch him go up for the football, you realize how great a ball skills he has. And so you see a guy that can move as well as he does with the ability to catch the football. And then you see, you work with him in camp and you start seeing, what he can and, what he can do. And, with shallow cross, really a shallow cross is no different than running a go route. You're just going horizontally. But seeing him run Lucy routes and run option routes and everything, we knew that he had it in him. And we're fortunate to be able to expose that or showcase that, excuse me.
Hey, Joe, Jason Huber. With this Tampa Bay defense or Atlanta defense, they're one of the worst in the league right now, but they've also had a lot of injuries. And it seems like a few of those players are starting to get healthy. Even though on paper, it's not good right now for them, what kind of can make that, still make them, kind of come back, not be as deceiving that, hey, on paper, they're 31st in the league, but they still have a chance to be better than they've been so far. Yeah,
I think when you look at the paper, I don't think statistics always kind of paint the picture, especially early in the season. You look at, all it takes is one game to completely change, statistics in the categories this year. But, they've had some unfortunate injuries and, we're expecting all of them to be back this week. And so you see how hard they play up front. They have, Grady Jarrett is, every time Grady Jarrett's on the football field, you have to know where he is and how they're able to get pressure on the quarterback and, getting their, obviously a first round draft pick potentially back and there's some of their DBs back, healthy. I think that you can't look at the numbers and can't look at the record. That you're going to be playing a really good defense that's going to be ready to rock this weekend. And so we got to, it's going to be a great challenge. We got to be ready to go.
Let's go to Jonathan Alexander and then Josh Klein.
Hey, Joe. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well, bud. How you doing?
Good. I know maybe you had, with Reggie Bonifant out, I know you all, talk about having the next man mentality. But does his loss, in particular this week, change anything with how you might use Mike Davis this week than originally planned?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose somebody to injury, it's unfortunate. I thought Reggie played a great game this past weekend, and so it's unfortunate what happened to him. And I know he'll attack rehab, and but we have the mindset, and I know it sounds so cliche that we can't change what we do. We just have to figure out what our guys do well. And so I feel confident in our backs, just like when Christian went down, I felt confident in our backs, and so whatever running backs in the football game, we'll try to tailor it to their strengths and kind of go from there.
Hey, Joe, kind of on that same line of tailoring to their strengths, the rotation at wide receiver has been really interesting over the past few games. I'm curious what you see in guys like Farrell Cooper and Brandon Zylstra from a skill set perspective that makes you want to get them in the game. And do you use that rotation to kind of get guys rest during the game, or is it just a matter of getting new skill sets on the field?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I think the way that our receivers came to work in the training camp, I think I felt confident going into the season. If featuring 5, 6 receivers. And so they earned it. And so it's not one of those things where it's just like, hey, we're just throwing them out there, throwing Pharaoh Cooper and Zylstra out there just because, hey, we just want to give other people a breather. They're going out there because they earned it. And, we found a vision for them in their skill sets. And, I think you look at a guy, Pharaoh Cooper, and you see how tough he plays. He's a very smart football player. And you watch him in kick return and punt returns when the ball's in his hand, he makes plays. And so you feel confident that when he's in the football game, there's not going to be a drop off. And Zylstra in the training camp, you saw him perform at as high as a level as anybody on our football team. And so we have full faith in whatever receivers are in there. And so it could be, hey, a guy just ran a go route and someone needs a breather, but when they are, but there are also plans on, you go into the game plan with them playing significant amount.
Just to follow up on that real quick, is there downfield blocking? How much does that have? How important is that to you when you look at a wide receiver skill set?
Well, you're talking to a wide receiver that basically just played 2 blocks. So it's always been important to me. And I think you learn a lot about your football team when you watch wide receivers with how they block. And I think Coach Jackson does a great job at emphasizing that. And, it kind of goes, it kind of comes full circle when you watch you turn on like a touchdown pass for a wide receiver and you watch Mike Davis, picking up with the protection. And so you'd hate to put on tape and you got Mike Davis in open field and that wide receiver is not making that block. And so I think that's a point of emphasis that Frizz puts on with the wide receivers. And, you want to be that guy to make the touchdown block. And I think our wide receivers have that mentality. And, I think, and it's very important to us in the run game. They got to be complete wide receivers.
All right, guys, we only have time for 2 more. So let's go to Joe Person and then finish with Miles Simmons.
Joe, you guys have some road games coming up in venues that are traditionally very tough places to play, and loud, and the domes in Atlanta and New Orleans. How much different is calling plays now in semi-empty stadiums? And does it give you more flexibility to have Teddy do more checks at the line because he could, hear himself think?
I don't know if maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it's really been no different to me. Maybe that's because I'm up in the box, Joe. It sounds the same in the box on the headset that it does when there's 60,000. If there's 100,000, it all sounds the same to me. So from my standpoint, it's really business as usual for me. Now, with regards to Teddy, I don't know if whether it's a snap count or something that has been able to be used to our advantage, but outside of that, it's kind of been business as usual for us.
Joe, I know this is your first year as an OC, but teams are scoring a lot of points, and right now it's at a record pace. Is there anything that you can put your finger on as to why there's been such a scoring barrage?
No, nothing that comes to mind. I know that there's some great offenses in this league, and it's a lot. It's you're seeing the scores in these football games without being able to point something to it. There's some great minds and some great football players, and it's fun to watch when you look at the touchdown tapes across the league each week. I think the coaches across the league are just putting their players in position to have success and doing a great job at it. And watching some of the throws these quarterbacks are making, and some of the when you're watching these running backs just getting space, I think a lot of it just has to do with I think the game's at an extremely high level, and it's fun to watch. But to say it's any specific thing, I can't point to that.